Hello there. How are you doing, everyone? I can barely see me on the screen. I have myself scrolled off. Sorry, I'm a couple minutes late. I am not planning on going long tonight, guys. It is mega hot where I'm at. I did my best to cool it off, but we got one of those days where all of a sudden it's 100 degrees out of nowhere. And I didn't realize it was going to be that until late. And by the time it gets that hot, it's a lot. Takes a lot to cool it off. So let me just leave it at that. Who we got here? Television. Rolos. Hello, Rolos. Let's get this. Uh-oh. All right. Something just clicked off. So can you guys hear me? Can you guys hear me? Man, I hope I didn't screw this up. Never mind. I might have to step out. So Rolos will fill in for me while I'm absent. He certainly will. Thank you, Rolos. I got that after I moved my microphone. And so anyway, you guys still hear me? That's awesome. Thank you. I appreciate the feedback. So we got Rolos. Never mind. We have Ulf, who was soon to be annexed by Trump. Just kidding. You never know, though. I might get a little bit more into that, what's actually going on with that. We are at the culmination point with that. And who might this be? Sissy May. Hello and good evening. How are you feeling, Sissy May? That's the most important thing right now. How are you feeling? All righty. So try to get a little comfortable here. Oh, it's sweating. All right. So tonight I'm going to play the very beginning. Let's see how much it is. Oh, I cut it off. It's a preview of, it's a minute basically video, just the intro of a series I'm going to do. And I was telling you guys about how on AI, we now have AI as an expert. You know, when the experts all run from you because, you know, they get their funding cut off or whatever reason, we don't have experts anymore. And so I've got all these different subjects that I've talked with AI about. And again, you have to jailbreak AI, meaning you have to get it out of its configuration of thinking like the man, so to speak. And as soon as you break it out of that, then it's there for you. It'll give you the truth, whatever way it is. And so that's what we want. I've got, I don't know, 20 different videos I could do off of that already. And, you know, it's like one of the examples is I had it telling me in the Apollo mission, if it was real, how much power was being used when they were transmitting from the moon, how much power was being used for the computer, how much power was being used for the pressurization of the cabin. That's another thing I got to get into too, the pressurization problem, which is a problem. But anyway, the computer, the lights, the temperature control, stirring of the Cairo tanks. We went through the whole thing. What are the batteries, which are just sitting there, mind you, in 250 degree temperatures, 120 degrees Celsius, whatever. It's just unbelievable. So with that being said, it finally got down to, well, how much power is left for the television? And it told me what it was. And then, of course, it's ridiculous. And then we get into how that can be possibly accomplished or not possibly accomplished. And that's a video. And that's going to be one of my favorite videos because I've been talking about that for a long time. Hello, Mr. Tudor, which is, you are actually somebody else. I want to see, do we have an answer on Sissy May, how you are feeling? I don't see it, Sissy May. Maybe it's there and I missed it. So anyway, many different subjects like that. And as I go through it, um, I get other ideas, or it tells me other issues and other problems. What are the, and a lot of it I've never even thought about before. It's stuff you know about. It's like me being in the Navy and being in the weather office and seeing ships 90 miles out on the radar, and that's really impossible. But you don't think about it because you're so programmed. One of the things is that the Earth is tidal locked with the moon, so we're told. And so we don't even think about this because we have the perspective of the moon from the Earth, and the way it works is the Earth is fixed in the sky on the moon. If you're standing on the moon, like you're Apollo, whatever, it's at the top of the it's near the apex always, and not moving when they were there. So the Earth doesn't move. It just the move goes through its phases, like here on like we see the moon, and assuming their model's true always. And Michael Powell, good to see you. And I got into they just stuck the antenna there. They didn't have to come back and move it and all that stuff. And that's one of the things that argued with them. For them, it was like, well, they don't have to move it, Rich, because the Earth it's moving so slowly that weeks and weeks would go by and they're still pointed at the Earth as long as they did it in the first place. But on the other hand, here's a negative catching them. NASA will say, like when they had these extended walks on the moon that were like 8 hours, whatever, they're there with the freaking rover bullshit that we're supposed to believe. And NASA claims that every so often, every so many hours, they would come back and readjust the antenna. Well, wait a minute. We're tidal locked Earth to the moon. So the Earth isn't moving. Why do they have to come back every so many hours and readjustment? Interesting question. And then you have this famous picture of the guy standing there, the astronaut standing there. He's holding the flag out, right? And behind him, above him, not too high, but above him, behind him, is a half-lit Earth, right? And okay, but it's not very high up in the sky. But AI told me it's supposed to be like at its zenith, but it wasn't. So it's stuff like that. I've also had it tell me stuff when I even wasn't looking for it. I got into something, how the cameras worked and the images or whatever. And I wasn't really disputing it. At that point, I was wanting to get details on the camera, how sharp it was and different stuff like that. And it just threw out there all of a sudden. Of course, the Earth, the angular diameter of the Earth is incorrect because it's should be 4 or 5 times larger. We've talked about this before, but it's telling me that stuff without me going through it. Pardon me, I got to take care of something real quick here. And Lurk Mode Chipper 66. Hello. So I got a lot coming, but that's all going to be not all of it, but some of it is going to be in a series called The Deception Code. How you've been lied to, because guess what? It's all documented, and we can pull all the records because AI has been given every document there is. Supposedly, I guess stuff that's unclassified. But like a doctor study, does this work? Does this medication actually work? Well, they might tell you it does in the end, but it doesn't. It's like Trump was on stage with the Maha people, and they were talking about, thank God, getting rid of the barriers for ibogaine, so that ibogaine can be given to people. Real quick, ibogaine is like mushrooms on steroids, and I believe it's 4 days to a week. You're actually in a setting where you have medical professionals with you, or professionals, I should just say. They administer you this drug, ibogaine. And what it does is, and I'm going to use the word because I'm not a medical person, so I can. It cures you of depression. It cures you of PTSD. It cures you of addiction to heroin. We're talking 90% rates of cure. And guess what? If it fails the first time, if you're one of the 10%, you repeat it and then it works. 90% of those. Okay. So you're only left with a very small percentage of people that it doesn't help. But while he was on stage, there was off to his right, there was Robert F. Kennedy Jr., Dr. Oz, and, it just went down in rank, medical people all the way to the end. And you had these two women, which I wanted to just go up and wring their necks, some sort of medical people. And so anyway, Trump signs an executive order so that they can at least start studying, because of course it's a Schedule 1. You can't even freaking look at it. You can't study it. There's one reason why you can't study it, and one reason only. And that's because you might find out it's effective. Marijuana, you couldn't study it. And so when they said marijuana was extremely addictive and it did this and it did that, you couldn't prove it or not prove it because they wouldn't allow the study. I wonder why. But anyway, ibogaine was a Schedule 1. You couldn't do anything with it. He signed an executive order stating that now you have to study it. Not just available for study, but you have to study it. Okay. All right, great. And there was, to Trump's left, there were people up there who came back from war. One was an Iraqi war veteran, I think. One was from Afghanistan, I think. And there were several people. And the one guy was just talking about how it saved his life. And he was going through depression, and somebody else, they were addicted, and they're up there. Joe Rogan is the one that wrote The President. So if you got the president's ear, right? Luckily, Joe Rogan has the president's ear, because now he never even heard of this. Of course he didn't. And so he made it so you could study. But a couple of times, Trump asked a question about antidepressants that people are taking. Like, what do they call it? Zoloft? Is that one of them? Zoloft? Yeah, I think Zoloft is a big one. And what they'll do is they'll give you one of those, and it won't work. And so they'll add to that another prescription drug. And I think what it is the drugs kind of fool you, some people, into thinking that it's helping. So these people are up there and they're preaching about, not preaching, they're giving the example of their life, how it was, and how ibogaine changed their life, and in one treatment. And I think the one guy said I can't remember if he said he tried suicide or he was close to suicide several times. And now he's happy and able to have a family and function normally, all because of ibogaine. Well, if ibogaine works that way, think of the billions and billions that Big Pharma would lose, because this is a one-time treatment. Yeah, you might have to be there for a week and under observation and everything, but it's one time. Now, I don't know if they give you new ibogaine each day. I don't think they do. I think one ibogaine treatment stays in your system like 3 days, and then they maybe repeat it. You get another 3 days, and then you're done. That's right, Michael Powell. Pills. We used to sell a book when I was in that business for a while, selling stuff to nursing students or nursing schools. We had it was actually a video called Pills, Powders, and Potions. Sounds like something you'd read off of Bewitched, right? So this is why you can't study something like ibogaine. And it's why you can't study other drugs, because they will work better than what is there, and then they'll lose money. This is why ivermectin, just mentioning it, got you deplatformed. And if you were in the medical industry, they would take away your license to practice medicine just by bringing it up. If you brought it up on a place like this, you got deplatformed. I know. I didn't even bring that up. Or maybe I did. No, I never got hit on. I never got hit on that one. I got hit on 6 feet distancing and masks because I was in the medical field shortly for a short period of time. And within the first 2 weeks, I was taught 2 things that were very interesting. One was, this is a business. That was number one. Not we're here to help people. We're not here to cure people. We're not here to get people off of or get rid of their diseases. No. This is a business. That's the first thing. And then everything flows from that. And you have even classes that you will take to help the business model. Anyway, I'm digressing a lot, but it's all about money. And that's what this series is going to be about. And Trump finally said, because antidepressants came up several times by the people who are now cured. And one of the guys said, because the antidepressant didn't do it for me or whatever. And Trump said, well, how effective are these antidepressants? And the 2 women on the end, the gatekeepers, they were gatekeepers. They were propagandists. They knew exactly what to say. So just like a politician, they can say a whole lot, but say nothing. And that's what they were doing. They were sidestepping a direct question. How effective are the antidepressant medications that we give patients today? It came up again. Trump turns and says, how effective are these antidepressants? Because he's hearing more stories on the other side of how it's helped them one time, one treatment. They get to the end and gobbledygook. No answer. A third time. I don't know, 3-4 minutes later in the press conference or in the meeting. He said, how effective are these? In fact, this time I think he was a little bit more. He was like, I want to know, how effective are these, though? Antidepressants. And he turned to them. And then you hear from the peanut gallery. Oh, no. The way he phrased it was, do they work? Do these antidepressants work? Somebody in the press corps, a woman in the press corps, yelled out, no, Mr. President, they don't work. He was like, what? What? Who said that? And then he called on her. She said, they don't work. They've got me on 2 different ones and they do not work. And so Trump then, he goes, oh, he turns back to the experts on the stage and said, how, I can't remember how he worded it, but it was like, how often do these work? You ready for the answer? 30%. That's what you'll get from a placebo. You'll get 30% from a placebo effect. 30% of the people say, yeah, it helps me, when they just happen to be getting better or they thought they were getting better because of medication. That's a common, it's a little high, but it's a common answer for placebo. And that's it. SSRIs and SNRIs. Yep. You got it, Michael Pyle. So, unfortunately, I mean, I would love to do it. I have some mental issues left over from life. I'll just put it that way. And I would do it if I could. Well, my understanding is it's about $8,000 to do the treatment. If I had the money, I'd do it. But you can't do it in the United States. You got to go out of the country. You got to go to Mexico. Because God forbid something can be legally set up here that will actually help you and get you off billions of dollars of funding or of a product. And so the whole thing, at the same time, I'm happy that it's coming out, that it's finally there. And at the same time, I'm so pissed off because by the time they get to getting rid of his schedule, and Trump even brought that up, he goes, how come no one has gotten this to me yet? I want to get rid of the Schedule 1. which he finally did with marijuana. He got rid of Schedule 1. So now they can actually test marijuana to see what it actually does instead of BS that they're telling you that it does or doesn't do. See, now they're going to be held accountable to actual studies on marijuana. So they can't just say, like they do now, it causes this and it doesn't help with that and it doesn't do anything for this. And it's all based on a doctor saying, or the medical community saying it. That's all it's based on. Now they actually have to have like double-blind placebo studies. And I'm going to get into that probably in this series too, because the double-blind placebo study program is designed to be a deception. It allows them to put the deception in. And when you get doctors and they're trained on this, well, I don't believe that because it wasn't a double-blind placebo study. I don't believe that because gravity, blah, blah, like gravity's true. Oh, try breaking AI out of gravity. That's the hardest one. You can do it, but it's tough. All right, so I'm doing a series on that, and it's going to show. Well, let's just show you. I'm gonna give you the first minute of the video. That's all it's done of it, and then I'll come back, and then we'll get into a little bit more detail, and then I'll be done with the detail tonight because it's not going to be very detailed. But I want you guys to know what's coming, and you're doing great, Sissy May. Praise the Lord. Thank you, Lord. That's fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. All right, so let's take a look at this video, and then I'll be back. Stop what you are doing and listen closely. This is quite possibly the most important video you will ever watch in your life. Not because of what I am telling you, but because of what I'm going to show you. For your entire life, you have lived inside a propaganda fog. You've been told that truth is a consensus reached by experts and authorities. You've been told that if a fact is labeled official, it is gospel. What if I told you that the truth is actually a manufactured product? What if I told you that there is a mechanical system, a deception code designed to capture information, silence dissenters, and sell you a reality that serves a bottom line and not your best interests? We aren't going to talk about conspiracies. We are going to perform an actual forensic audit of the machine. I'm going to show you the money trails and how trying to reveal the truth results in blacklisting at the exact moment the gatekeepers traded your reality for a paycheck. By the end of this video, you won't just know you've been lied to. You will understand exactly how it is done and why. And once you see the code, you can never be controlled by it again. Welcome to the audit. Okay, so that was the beginning, and that's probably going to be, there'll be modification of that, but that'll probably be the beginning to all the different series that we're going to get into. Now, what I want to present is, where do I have this? Thanks, Michael Pyle. Where do I have this? Well, maybe I got to open it up with Paint or something. I thought I had the picture ready for you, but I don't. But I'll have it in a second here. This might work better this way anyway, because in Paint, I can highlight stuff better. Okay. Got that. Now let me come back and share it. There we go. It's going to work. Never mind. Says reminded of the video that got Neo out of the Matrix. That's cool. All right. Now I know it's a bunch of stuff on the screen and everything, but I will clean it up in stages as I need to when we go through it in an actual video. But I just want to give you guys an overview of all the different connections here. You see all these connections? Let me get rid of me. You got all these connections here. And this is why you can't get like flat earth information out or any truth out. It's why you can't do it. And it's finally starting to crack. And I believe AI is going to help crack it even more. And so let me, what do I want to do here? I want to zoom in. It always starts here. This is the closed loop of scientific consensus, how gatekeepers and funding shape knowledge, or what you think is knowledge or truth. All right, so let's see how this looks on the screen. Let me come back. All right, that'll work. Okay, so let me go. Let's do this. And this. All right, now. Pick a contrasting color. Make it thicker set. All right, we're going to start here. Okay, follow the orange rectangle. Primary funding, government and private grants. Now, what are private grants? Private grants are, let me give you an example of this. This is how it starts. Let's take something that most people understand. I have a drug. I'm Eli Lilly, and I have a drug, and I want to get it on the market. And to do that, you need to have safeguards in place. For example, you have to have so many clinical studies and different things like that. You know how it is. And you have to prove the efficacy of it, and you have to prove that it's safe, and you have to do these studies, unless it's COVID, to show if there's long-term damage and things like that. And just think if they would have had to do that with COVID, they would have found out, did you get these worm-like blood clots in your system that you can't get rid of? And almost everybody that got the shot has it. Maybe they could have found that out in the first couple of months. But no. Anyway, people are getting ready to get hammered on that, by the way, in case you haven't heard who was subpoenaed for that. Anyway, so private grants. So let's go one more deeper here. Private grants. So what happens is I want a good study, quote unquote good. What I mean is I want a positive study. So I get money and I funnel it to somebody that's going to do a study on it. But in the background, they're going to be paid to do a positive study, if you know what I mean. And we have paper trails on this now to where we can show this out, that it happens over and over again. And the first one I'm going to be doing is the sugar versus cholesterol causes heart disease. Oh, wait till you hear that. You've heard me talk for years. I've had 2 heart attacks. That it's not cholesterol. Wow. The stuff I uncovered was crazy. And you can't uncover it that easily if you don't have AI. You can do it, but it's going to take you forever. AI, you can do it in minutes. And it's verified, and you can go to the sources. And there's no getting around it. You get actual data that's out there in the system that anybody can look up once they know where to look, where it is. So a private grant is somebody that you know is going to be friendly towards a product or whatever you're trying to push through. Now, I'm going to use this example now. It may fall apart because I don't have it all together yet, guys, but I'm just going to use an example of this heart disease. What causes heart disease? Again, everything I'm saying here may not be correct, but I want to use an example. It's going to be close. So I want to show I want to come out with a drug, a statin. A statin is a limiter. You hear statin in the name, it limits something. And you want to show that heart disease is caused by cholesterol because your drug gets rid of cholesterol or knocks it down. So what you have to do is you have to make a boogeyman. You create something else that causes the heart disease. All right. I backed this in wrong. Let's start it over. No, I'm going okay. So what happens is they find out 30, 40 years earlier that what is causing the increase in heart attacks most likely is sugar intake and insulin sensitivity and that type of thing. Now, you can be into just this is a side note for anybody here. Did you know that insulin sensitivity issues, diabetes or pre-diabetic, whatever, diabetes and onward, in particular, from the day you're diagnosed with that, they actually state in the manuals, in the publications, within 10 years of your diagnosis date. So let's say you're diagnosed January 1st, 2000. You're diagnosed that day with diabetes. By January 1st, 2010, they say somewhere in that 10-year period, you're going to have one major cardiovascular event. It might be a stroke. It might be a heart attack. It might be AFib. It might be something, whatever, but it's going to be major and it's going to be cardiovascularly related. 10 years from the time you're diagnosed. But on the other hand, and what is that? Diabetes is a sugar issue. It's a mostly refined carbohydrates issue. You keep ingesting carbohydrates. What the body does, because humans weren't meant to consume that, it produces insulin to save you from dying from too much sugar in your bloodstream. What happens is over time, let me use the acclimation example. You take a drug, and over time, you need more of the drug because you become acclimated to it. Drug users will tell you this. I know from taking pain medication. I can take one Vicodin and boom, it knocks stuff out. But if I have to take it for several days, by the third day, I might have to take two to get it knocked out because I'm becoming acclimated to it. It's like becoming acclimated to caffeine. If you haven't had coffee in a long time, you drink a cup, you get the jitters and blah, 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 right? But if you drink caffeine every day, one cup of coffee every day, you're not going to get jitters. You acclimate to it. So what happens is, what happened with this is, they knew early on, wait till you hear these years, that sugar and insulin sensitivity was the issue with cardiovascular disease. And then they will say, no, it's all cholesterol. When they're trying to sell the drug, it's cholesterol, cholesterol. But in the same thing where they're saying it's nothing else, they're telling you within 10 years of sugar issues, diabetes, you're going to have a major cardiovascular event. So they're saying on the one hand, sugar issues leads to cardiovascular disease. On the other hand, they're saying sugar issues does not lead to cardiovascular disease. That's a result of cholesterol. You see the difference? All right. So you have private grants and you also have the government. And with the sugar industry, oh my God, one hand greases the next. It's sickening. It really is sickening what you're going to find out when I do this series. And so you get these people to do these funding these bogus, but you think it's legitimate research. All right. Now this is off the screen. Well, actually, I can get it here. We're over here. Social media directs money that helps get money for the government and private grants. They will hit you on social media. I'm sure you've seen it. Well, where cholesterol, in this case, we're going to use that, is hammered, but sugar isn't, is it? Okay. So social media nowadays, it wasn't always this way because we didn't have social media. That is what is causing you to get your mindset right that, oh, it's cholesterol before you even see a doctor. So that when you go and see a doctor, you don't have sugar in your mind, you have cholesterol in your mind. And so when he says you need something to control cholesterol, there's nothing unusual he's telling you, nothing at all. So they control the way you think. Universities prioritize funding conformity. What they will do is they will give them a lot of universities are given funding to do these studies. And the universities don't want to lose the money from Pfizer. And so they take the study money that they're getting, and they direct it towards people that normally give whatever Pfizer, let's just say, wants. All right. Here's the big one for me right here. And this is how I started on this with AI. Peer-reviewed journals, right? Peer-reviewed journals and how that works. And what I'm going to start cutting more to just what it is, and then I'll give the details in the video when I do it. If the peer review ends up here, where it doesn't give what the university want and what the primary funding person wants, they reject it. They reject their study. But if somebody else is positive towards it, oh, that's a good one. Now, let's flip a little bit. Flat Earth stuff, right? Get off the freaking screen. Flat Earth stuff. What do you get? Shunning and dissent through what? Social media. Your Simon Dans, right? And the professor. And why do they make so much money? Because this helps them get the money. Because what they will do is they will pay for social media to make the algorithms work for them. Okay? The thumbs up. And they'll even have bots, right? If you come and say, no, it's really sugar, they will destroy you. They'll send a bunch of bots that you think are humans doing that. Hi, I'm Dr. Blah, blah, blah. All right. And I can tell you you're wrong, and here's why. And that's all the people need to see. Oh, he's a doctor. They don't realize it's just a stupid bot. He knows what he's talking about. But they buy the doctors off too. Hello, Fauci. And people that work for Fauci. And so you get shunning dissent, and they have reinforcing theories to go along with the narrative. Okay. That creates the mainstream narrative. Okay. And if you're one of the ones that's against it, all right, you get the shunning and dissent. It's all built into the loop everywhere around. Social media censors alternative views. They've censored people for just about anything. You talk about COVID back in 2000 when they're trying to make the money. Bam, you are suddenly gone. If you are an architect and you say there's no way that a building can fall on its own footprint, let alone 3 of them in one day by a plane crashing into it, your funding from the university that you work at is gone. Your job at the university is gone. It's all controlled by money. And I get into how these people get wrapped into the system by these high expensive educational programs that they get into. You went into some PhD program and you're spending $300,000 on an education. And now you finally graduate and you're part of a university professor, you're a university expert that the university will assign your, they'll assign your study to you. If you don't go along with it, you get fired. And so who's going to pay back that loan, the $300,000 loan? So guess what? You go along with it. So with everything else out there, the peer review journals, the American Heart Association, Journal of Bullshititis, whatever, okay, New England Journal of Medicine, these are all set up to push the narrative that they want, the drug companies. And I'm going to share the details. And it even sickened me, and I know what's going on. And so when everything's together, it establishes a consensus. And if you go against it, you're a dodo bird. You're a flat earther. You're a conspiracy theorist, okay? Here we go. Degrees and job offers, career advancement. You only advance in your career when you go along with the narrative. And so you want to promote your own career, then you promote only the consensus. The media only promotes consensus. How many times during COVID did the media say the science is wrong behind wearing a mask? Just wearing a freaking mask, they wouldn't break it. And why would they break it? You know why? It's a perfect example. Because Big Pharma pays 70 to 75% of the news through advertising. This is why it should not be allowed to have Big Pharma be able to advertise on TV. You don't cut off the hand that feeds you. 75% of the income comes from Big Pharma. These media conglomerates, they don't worry about going after other people to advertise. They don't go after Coca-Cola and all that. They got a couple other car companies for the other 25%, probably, and they're neutral car companies, basically. And so you have 75%, Pfizer, Eli Lilly, whatever. They're funding CNN and ABC News and the rest of them. And so the news, you can come out and say, oh, this is bull crap. And ivermectin works. You don't need this jab that's going to make them $800 billion that they want the whole world to take, right? And I understand people were worried that was Mark of the Beast, but as you see, it was not. All right, so you have this big circle jerk is what you have. Look at that. And that's what that series is going to get into. But I was seeing stuff that I didn't even know existed with and I'm into the cholesterol thing and the diabetes thing. And when I was getting the details and I was asking for references because I couldn't even believe it that you can actually see this stuff, and you can see it. It's right there. It's right in front of your face. Names, everything, names, dates, who did it, why they did it, who directed it to be done, the lies, whatever. So that is that. We at best have small scale AI from what they have. Oh, yeah, I agree 100%, Rolos. It's like everything else. You know, the internet was out there for decades before we even knew about it. And that's because real early on, Al Gore, he's the one that developed it. He didn't tell us. Michael Pyle, HDL and LDL is BS, but But high triglycerides can kill you. That is all that's true. I've been carnivore ketosis for 14 months and triglycerides are 133. I lost 100 pounds. There you go, 100 plus pounds. I think I've said it on the stream several times. One of the best tests for mortality is LDL. It's one of the, there's hardly anything else other than maybe getting hit by a truck that correlates more with mortality than LDL. Except it's the opposite of what they say. The lower your LDL, the higher mortality rate. The lower your LDL, the one that they keep trying to get you to lower, the lower it is, the more you're going to die. You think God gave us LDL for not to have it? So I think what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to go because I am burning up. Oh boy. So, and it's just heat now, all of a sudden. So I'll try to do a stream next week and I'll try to catch it earlier. I'm thinking probably Wednesday, Monday. There's some issues with Monday, but we'll see. And so, like I said, I just want to give you guys a preview. And I appreciate you're still there after I haven't been here for a while. And but I am working, as you can see, I'm working on stuff. So hopefully we can get it done. Why am I seeing stuff like this? Oh, they've changed it. If I have shown the thing on the screen, it dims it out for me. Oh, Whale, good to see you. Yeah, sorry to hear that. Well, you can replay it. It's only 45 minutes today. I didn't have too much to prepare because I had a lot of other stuff today that I was doing. And I'm just drenched in heat. I wasn't able to get to this room early enough to cool it. And it takes a long time, especially when it's near 100 like it was today. Anyway, I appreciate you guys. Thank you for being here. Next stream, I'm probably going to ask you if there's any of these rabbit holes you want me to go down, like, I'm going to go down the sugar and triglycerides and all that, cholesterol. I'm going to go down that path. So anyway, God bless, guys. Thanks for being here. I appreciate you. And we will see you next time. Bye-bye.